I felt like throughout the entire process, I lost myself a little bit.
Do you dislike anybody?
But because I was naive, I thought nobody's gonna bring phones. It was quite sad lah. It was quite sad, and I have to come up with excuses to request to use my phone.
Welcome to yet another episode of Men Explain, where we explore the real differences between how men and women think. And today I'm really privileged because I've got a really handsome man next to me. It's not you, Avery.
Oh, I was just gonna say, right? No, but obviously this man is way more handsome than I am. Let's please welcome our guest for today, Lucas, also known as WhyLucas. Now the first question is
why?
Why?
Lucas?
Yeah, why?
Why?
The reason is to make you guys ask me why. First of all,
Also, if we fell for the bait.
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a bit, and then second of all, it's because my Chinese name is Wang Hong Yi Lucas.
Oh, it's the
Yeah.
initial.
Yeah, it's the initials.
Oh.
Quite fated lah, if I'm being honest. Yeah.
Cute,
Oh,
cute.
but you had this handle like way before you even started on your like idol journey or your public figure
Yeah.
journey, right?
Because prior to this, I was just releasing music as a solo artist in Singapore.
Yeah.
So I needed a name. My idols are like Ed Sheeran, John Mayer, and everything. So they all have like a last cool name. So I'm thinking, okay, how am I gonna be like them? Like, should I be like Lucas White or something? You know? Then my friend in back then I was in army, so my friend was like, you know what, just put WhyLucas.
If you really explode to get super famous in the future, you need to give royalties to your this army
Yeah.
friend who might be tuning in right now.
Sing licensing and everything. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, today we're going to be exploring exactly what Sonia just mentioned, idols in Singapore and what it's like. And the reason why you're here is because you were very, very lucky and obviously very talented to be in a very big program that we know called Chuang Asia. First question
we
is,
have no idea what it means.
what's Chuang?
Chuang is actually a Chinese word. It originated from a Chinese program, and then some things happened, and then they moved to Asia, and then Chuang in Chinese means Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
I might get like.
By the
scolded
way,
on
I
that.
have no answers for you here, so we're depending on it.
Chuang means bed.
That's chuang.
Chuang.
Chuang. You
Then
know, it's like chuang,
chuang-
chuang, chuang, chuang.
Yeah.
So
Chuang,
which
chuang,
Chuang
chuang,
is this?
Chuang is.
The last.
Yeah.
the
But there are a
last-
lot of different Chuangs though.
You know when you say a
Yeah.
word so many times that it sounds weird now? Chuang sounds weird. Okay,
Wait, hold up.
we're gonna dive straight into this,
Yeah,
okay?
sure.
So before we begin, we need to get a little background. How did you get into Chuang Asia and like what was it like?
I was reached out to by a casting agency from China, and then at first I didn't want to join because this thing is out of my comfort zone as a solo artist and singer-songwriter. But my friend, my Chinese friend who actually watches some of these programs, he told me just go for it because it's good exposure.
So when you joined the contest, what did you think it was going to be like? And your reasons for not wanting to join, firstly, out of your comfort zone. But
Yeah.
was it also because you were concerned of like any backlash or like what would happen? And what was running through your mind?
Yeah, a little bit because I didn't know how to dance. Like, yeah. I
Same
think-
here.
There was this one clip where Genie's the last year's audition,
Yeah.
the last year's debut group, they watched my audition clip.
Yeah.
And the reactions were honestly quite funny. Yeah, so I didn't know how to dance, and I think I was a little bit scared about how this might affect my artist image because I've always been a singer, songwriter, and guitarist.
Yeah.
So this might not look good on my resume.
But you told your friends, your family, you shared with them that you
Yeah.
were going to go on this. What was their reaction? Were they super surprised or like, you're made for this?
Yeah, no, they were surprised. Like my dad and my mom were like, they dropped their jaw and they were like, you this is so not you, you know. But to be fair, they were very supportive because they flew with me to Bangkok for the auditions, and then they flew with me to go there the first time for the start of the program, and as well as they came during the finals. Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, no, I
very
mean, it's always
sweet.
cool to have your family like support you.
Also, I saw the TikToks online of myself,
Yeah.
and every single one of the TikToks and Instagram, my dad and my mom comments.
Like, and
Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah, so they comment and they create accounts of my using my grandma's name, my aunt's name, and then they comment as well to boost a little bit of engagement. lah.
Hold up, so they did not actually have accounts before this. They created it just so they can support you online.
Yeah.
That's so
yeah.
cute.
And their comments come in amidst all the other thirsty comments.
I guess. No, to be fair, honestly, I saw like an edit of myself because
Okay.
there was this one time where they told us main comments. The directors wanted to see our reactions. So the question was like, hey, Lucas, is your muscles the only thing you can show? And then I was like, I said I can show you more, but I can't show you on camera. And then there was an edit after that, and then my dad was commenting on that edit.
What was the comment? What was the
my
comment?
dad was commenting like, why Lucas is so handsome or something.
You know, actually, to be honest, right? So I think My parents are something like this as well. They're
Yeah.
very supportive. Sometimes they don't look at the content.
Yeah, and the
They
context.
they look at the content. They don't know what's going on. They're just like, oh, what's the next nice thing I should say, and like leave a comment there.
Yeah.
Yeah, every single time I see Sonia's mom comment on something, I'm like, Auntie,
I
you're
know.
so cute.
I know.
Yeah.
She
What does
doesn't
she
even
comment?
want. She's just like, oh, so pretty, or
Yeah.
like, oh, so, same thing.
On the flip side, my mom doesn't even watch my stuff.
She's not on social media,
So
is she?
she is.
Oh, she is.
She just doesn't care.
She just watched
Does she
like,
listen to your radio?
No. No, okay, but we wanted to say, because you said that you couldn't dance before this, right?
Yeah.
So when you knew that this was something that you were going to pursue, did you say, okay, I've got to pick up dance lessons, or I got to like learn how to do this? What was the preparation that went into going to join Chuang Asia?
I think I didn't necessarily start preparing very early because I didn't want to waste my effort. So once I got a confirmation, it was November start of November, and I had to fly over on 20th of November. So I had like 2 to 3 weeks time to prepare, and I went for a few dance classes during that time. And when I'm not going for dance classes, I actually have school, but I skip my classes, so I go to like one of the empty rooms to practice dance as well. Alone, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So when you joined and you started gaining some traction, did you start getting more and more invested in like, okay, I think I really have a shot at this?
Yeah.
Then your confidence builds and you're like,
Yeah.
wait, I think there might be a chance.
Yeah.
How was that emotional journey for you, like from the beginning?
Okay, so it started when I got A class, and the filming of A class was around, I think, it was around Christmas time, and then we had Icon Siam countdown party performance. Yeah, so
It's like a big one.
it's the big one. Yeah. So when we performed, we were already distinguished into our different classes. So me being at A class, who don't know how to dance, I was in the front row doing a
Stress.
3-minute 30 dance.
Question, what is
Yeah.
A class?
So during debut stage,
Yep.
there was like you perform, and then the judges will rank you whether you are A class, B class, or C class. When I saw the fans during the countdown party, no one was really cheering for my name because no one knows me then. But like I felt really good standing in front. So, and I think that was when I was like, you know what, maybe. And then I started seeing tweets of myself. Yeah, because back then I still had my phone until
They
it got
took it
found out.
all.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And then I saw tweets about myself, and I was like, you know what, actually maybe this might be what I want to do.
I don't know if you felt this way, but when I had to do like a performance on stage for
Yeah.
like Channel 8 at that time,
Yeah.
right? I don't dance as well. Okay, so following choreography is not my strong suit. But because we practiced quite a bit as a group, I was like, okay, confident, can do.
Yeah.
And leading up to the moment where we were supposed to dance on stage, we actually nailed it. Super neat, everything was great.
Yeah.
I forgot to do the final move, which was the
ending pose?
something the
Oh,
ending
okay,
pose
okay.
thing just before the ending pose, and I knew I messed up already, but I was still happily like smiling all like still so confident, no. So I went back to look at the clip, and thank God they cut just in time before that. They didn't get like
Yeah.
a white shot of the ending pose. So for you, because you were right in front
Yeah.
of the stage over there,
Yeah.
you don't have anyone to reference or
Yeah.
anyone to look at. How do you remember all the steps? Being someone who isn't, like seasoned.
Remembering steps wasn't that big a problem lah, because I think I played sports prior, and I think the sports, the kind of movement with the
You're
hands.
quite ambidextrous.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a little bit like, how do you call it, psychomotor. It translates a little bit to dance, but I think main thing about it is you gotta be confident with what you do, because like honestly, you can mess up a dance, your left leg or right leg forward, it doesn't matter, as long as you're confident. I feel generally you can pull it off.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think like even if I'm confident back then, my skill level wasn't high yet, so I think there were some comments were like flaming my dance, but it's true.
Yeah, you know it is, right? Fake it till you make it.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
he honestly, I like his attitude because he's like, oh, I'm not perfection. Are you
Yeah.
perfectionist or that?
When it comes to my own music, yeah.
You are.
Yeah. But I think when it comes to something that I'm still trying out and something that I want to learn more, I think it's really hard to be perfect at that stage, you know?
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
We don't want to also discredit like the challenges of a reality show because you're making it sound quite chill,
Yeah.
but that's also because of your own attitude, right?
Yeah.
So what were some of the challenges you feel you faced? And let's be real with the audience,
Yeah, for
because
sure.
there are people out there who want to join any sort of talent competition. Could be music, dancing, performance, whatever, but it's not all like a bed of roses, not
For
so
sure,
easy.
yeah.
Any serious challenges that you had?
I think like one really big challenge that I had, and I posted it online, it was, I felt like throughout the entire process I lost myself a little bit, because it's nothing to do with like that physical problem, so but I think it's mentally, because it's a reality show, so every single part of your life is being filmed for the next 4 months, so you have to be ready for that. And I think there is also a lot of politics, because after all, it's a competition, and you have to think about how to present yourself in the best way in front of camera, and how to not let other people frame you in a certain way or maybe pin you down, you know. But I feel this is a very good process actually. I rather face it now than in the future, because this is a creative industry and we have to put up a front one way or another, you know.
I think that's a very good point that you're bringing about losing yourself, because we know that this whole series, this whole reality show is kind of like building an idol. Right?
Yeah.
They want this idol culture
Yeah.
is, I guess, something that a lot of Singaporeans are not very familiar with, right? The only concept that we have of it is like K-pop idols and stuff like that. So for you, like you said, transiting from being a, you know, singer, musician to becoming this whole idol culture, did you feel like you had to change your personality a little bit more to fit that idol culture, being in Chuang Asia and like even now?
During debut stage, Xu Minghao, the mentor, he was telling me like, after I got A class, he was saying, my only concern for you is that you are established solo artist, because I think my style is quite, I guess, prominent on stage when I played guitar and everything. Yeah. So he said like, my only concern for you is that you have to diminish yourself to a huge extent when you go into a boy group, because I think in a boy group, the dynamics have to be pretty much quite similar. You can't really have too much stand out. You can be different, but I think when you first start out, everybody wants to see like quite a similar
Like a uniform.
Like a
spectacle.
synergy.
Yeah. Everybody kind of have to be around the same height, dance a similar style. But I think eventually, like, I had to definitely tame myself down a little bit, because I'm generally quite energetic. People say I'm something like golden retriever or something.
Golden retriever
Golden
energy.
retriever.
So like whenever I see something happy, I just act out and be happy. And I think there was this one clip in Icon Siam doing a basking performance. We were playing this bottle flipping. I was just jumping around, and like fans, like when I went up to a fans, they were like, Lucas, and I was like, back, you know. Yeah. So I think for me, I think it's quite fun, but I think maybe it might not fit into the stereotypical idol image, and I think I am still a bit affected by that. So I do tame myself down a little bit when it comes to different situations.
I was just gonna say, does that affect you, that you have to tame your personality down a bit
definitely.
more?
I think one example was when during the Malaysia fan meet, right? Because everybody was standing in one line, and they were quite, they were just like being themselves and a little bit quieter. And maybe when a fan asked them to do hard, they would do hard. But I think for me, like, because people call me like golden retriever and stuff, so I maybe I just like try to be a little bit funny. So, but I think that at a point in time, I was like, you know what, maybe you gotta be a little bit more mysterious.
No, you hit the nail on the head, because having hosted quite a number of like big K-pop celebrities, Thai celebrities that come to Singapore, I realized, okay, the Thais are a little bit more friendly and warm, and this is purely from like a professional standpoint, okay. And now that you told me the insight, you know, the back end of it makes sense, because most of these like really big Korean stars, especially, and even the Thai stars, they're a little bit more mysterious. And they're a bit more like, they don't show too much emotion or expression. So that kind of, now I kind of understand, because it can be misunderstood for people thinking, oh, what a diva, or like, oh, why so unfriendly, you know, kind of thing.
You're pretty much like a friend.
Oh, so you don't want to be a friend.
Oh
You
man.
want to be, what do we want to be?
Idol. I guess this is why like the term idol, you know,
It's different,
like someone like perhaps Taylor Swift is someone's idol because they don't know Taylor Swift personally.
But apparently she's quite friendly,
She's quite
right?
open.
She is very friendly lah.
I don't know whether the Asian and American or Western idols are different.
Yeah, actually I want to touch on that because like I have a friend on the show. It's called Hong Jin. He was also very influenced by Western culture. So someone like Chaperone, Sabrina Carpenter, Taylor Swift is his idol. And I think those Western artists, they are very open about their character. They're open about topics like drinking,
they don't hide too much.
party life. They don't hide too much. And I think perhaps that might be a cultural difference between the Western and Asian sides.
Well, speaking of which, since you already brought that up, right? Do you think there's a massive difference between female and male idols in the culture? Because I feel that for a lot of female idols, they go through different problems, to be honest. Different kind of comments, they get sexualized. People have a lot of things to say about their appearance. Is this something that you experience too, as someone who's aspiring to hopefully be a male idol in the future?
Based on what I saw, because I went on Twitter and TikTok, I think the comments were still okay. But I think on China platforms, I think things are a little bit worse.
Spicier or
Yeah,
what?
spicier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I saw this meme, it's quite funny. They put like our faces and then like an inanimate object beside it. So for mine, I think it was like a gorilla or something.
Oh no!
Because like I was like, I'm quite chunky. I'm quite chunky in as compared to the other idol trainees. So as compared to them, I'm pretty much like a gorilla. Me being compared to gorilla might actually be a standout point for myself. So I don't think it's
Yeah.
that bad a thing. Yeah.
I think it's also perspective, right? Because when people leave like more sexualized comments about female idols versus like girls leaving thirsty comments on yours, I don't know whether there's like a bit of a difference.
I feel like they definitely.
You
do it.
know,
To be honest,
like-
I think I agree with you because I think it's just like for guys, I think we have it a little bit easier. Unfortunately, yeah, that's what I see on
Yeah.
social media as well.
No,
yeah.
you're
But
right.
do you think that there's ever been a time where somebody has left a, I would say, a sexualizing comment about you as a person, and that's kind of gotten you like, oh, okay.
That was, like, rude,
yeah,
is it?
That's kind of like crossing the
Yeah.
line, you know, or like to me, it's like that's a bit disrespectful.
Yeah.
You may not need to say it to anybody, but do you
Yeah.
ever think it to yourself and be like, that's a bit disrespectful already?
I think no.
Not yet.
Yeah,
not yet.
Like okay, I think because people comment about my muscle, like my singing, my dancing, and I think I also saw comments like calling me like Daddy Lucas or something. Yeah, but I think so far it's still okay. I think also because like it's how like we've been using so much social media and how we view this entire this difference of treatment between the male and female idols that I feel a little bit indifferent to the comments that come to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you seem like you have a good relationship with your family also, which I think is really important to have like a good head on your shoulders going into this, knowing that you're going to get a lot of comments, both good and bad, you know. But I'm just going to slip in a slightly spicier question here.
Yeah, sure.
When you started and embarked on this idol journey, did you consider whether it will make dating really hard for you? I hope you don't mind me asking. You don't have to
Yeah,
answer
sure.
if you don't want to, but
I can neither confirm nor deny whether
Yeah.
I am dating or not.
okay.
But I do think that dating in I think honestly I feel like love life is essential to every human being.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to have love life. But I think definitely if you want to become an idol and if you want to become something in the public someone in the public's eye, I think dating will definitely be hard because when you date someone, I feel like you'll lose like fans, you know? Yeah, especially for idols.
Why do you think all the Korean stars don't say anything like
Yeah.
until they go solo or like independent? Then
And when
there
they
might
have
be
like that
hints.
amount of fame already. From what I observe, yes, I think that dating as if you were to become an idol is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People will suddenly be part of the relationship too. They got
Yeah,
everything to say,
exactly.
all kinds of stuff to
I
say.
completely
I'm gonna say
agree,
because
yeah.
like actually prior to the show they asked us if we were attached.
Ah, okay,
coming on the show.
interesting.
And when we first came in, all the contestants were saying they don't have a girlfriend, and one guy was telling me even if you have a girlfriend you cannot say it out because like you don't want anybody to use it against you. You probably have to watch it a little bit. Yeah.
Wow, you don't know who to trust. Actually, you don't really know who you can trust.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to ask something
Yeah.
because we talk so much about being an idol and everything, and
Yeah.
to me, I think there's one major difference, right? Talking about not just having talent as an idol. Obviously, you have to have something that I would like to call pretty privilege, right? You got to look a certain way to kind of be an idol. Do you think that that's a real thing that you have to look pretty to be an idol?
Definitely. I feel that pretty privilege definitely exists lah. In workplace, especially for creative industry, I feel like pretty people and good-looking people generally have it easier in the sense where if their performance skills is not up to the standard of someone who's better but less good-looking as them, I think they will still outshine the latter.
Do you think this is very prevalent in this idol community?
Yeah, but I probably can't say like who.
Oh,
But he has someone
but
in mind.
you have somebody in mind.
I think like I don't have someone in mind, but I have seen like, hey, actually this person so talented, but why is he not popping off versus hey, this person
Not so
Not
talented.
as talented but marketable.
yeah, marketable,
Yeah,
very
yeah,
marketable.
yeah,
Yeah, marketability is also a
A
factor.
skill.
Yeah, it's also a
Yeah,
skill.
it's
yeah,
also a
yeah.
skill.
I think how you present yourself and how good looking you are might not just be natural. I
Fair.
think it is a huge part on how good you want to look and how good you want to tidy yourself up and what you require of your hair, your makeup, whatsoever.
Speaking of which, your hair is really quite styled
Thank
today.
you.
I'm just gonna ask, did you have to pick up yourself all these skills like makeup, hair?
Yeah. Prior to coming to Chuang, I was quite
You're like a dude.
Yeah, I'm a dude.
You're a
I'm a dude.
dude.
Right. I'm a dude. Like I was gymming, I was like making music, I was studying. So I was a dude, yeah.
Right.
And I didn't know how to style my hair, do makeup. But I think when I came to the show, I realized there were a lot of reality filming where we had to, where there wasn't hair makeup.
Yeah.
So we had to do ourselves.
So Lucas, you're saying that before you became an idol, you looked more like a dude, right? So you think that you've kind of transited your look to fit the idol mold a little bit more. You
Yeah.
feel right,
Yeah.
and that would be for lack of a better word, less masculine in that sense, right?
I think not necessarily. It depends on how you define masculine.
Right.
When I transition into becoming an idol trainee for the program, it's true that certain hairstyles will look more masculine and certain hairstyles will look more feminine.
Yeah.
And I kind of had a bit of trouble because I love my hair combed back and like a few strands down.
Yeah.
More masculine look. But I think the show wanted something a little bit more sunshine and young.
Right.
And I had to let my hair down a little bit.
Speaking of that, right, is there somebody in the show that, you know, people kind of talk about that doesn't fit that mold that you are kind of talking about as well?
I think like the first name that comes to my mind is Hu Yetao. Hu Yetao is a very different style of an idol trainee. First of all, like Hu Yetao has a very feminine look.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes I feel that, wow, really very pretty, you know. It's something that's really very admirable, to be honest, and something that's very, you know, you have that look. And first of all, if I'm Hu Yetao, I feel like if I know I have that look, I think it's so cool to be who you want to be. But I think when it comes to visual and stage presence and how you want to present yourself, I think Hu Yetao has got it like down to the T.
Very well planned, like
Yeah,
almost
very
like
well
a strategy in a
Yeah,
way.
and but I think the skill is there, lah. The skill is
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
So with the dynamic with Yetao and Bam Bam, that was quite an interesting situation over there.
Yeah.
People were like saying, "Hey, we ship that," or like.
Yeah.
You know, so how do you feel that whole dynamic was like, and do you think it was real?
Yeah, Bam Bam is like a really comical guy. He's really funny, and I think Bam Bam just gives us a lot of good energy.
Okay.
And I think he is genuinely quite star-studded by Hu Yetao's looks. Honestly, I think
like
a lot of
starstruck,
us,
yeah.
starstruck,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
I think a lot of us also like really. I personally think Hu Yetao is really very very pretty. Yeah, and yeah, so I think it was quite genuine. Yeah.
Do you think that this was just for camera's sake, or do you think off camera it was kind of the same as well?
Actually, off camera they are really nice to each other as well.
Right.
so
So
I
you think
think
you think it is genuine?
It's genuine.
I think it's
Oh,
genuine.
wow. Okay. Well, back to this, right? Because again, we're gonna say this like multiple times throughout this whole series or this whole episode, but you don't need to say it. But we want to know: was there any contestants that you think actually didn't like each other? Like actually
Surely
hated?
there will be.
Like
I'm
they
sure confirm have.
yeah, like on
Surely.
camera they were like, oh, you know, we're friends, but then
Yeah.
minute camera was like, pfft.
The
Yeah.
reflections booth,
Yeah.
like that bitch. How dare you?"
was there that?
Okay. I think there were people who didn't like each other, and but definitely I can't say who.
Of course.
Yeah.
But there were some popular people who had trouble interacting. Not trouble, I just had difficulty like being
Part of a team.
not part of
Oh.
the team, but more like I think there were people who disliked them lah. Yeah.
Right. Do you dislike anybody?
I'll take that as a yes.
It's good to know that if you rewatch it, you kind of know somebody doesn't like somebody lah.
Do you ever feel like worried about what's going to happen next if you don't make it to the next step, or let's say, touch wood, let's say you don't end up debuting as an idol?
Yeah.
Do you worry about what's going to happen next? in
Yeah,
your career?
definitely. I feel like whether or not a singer-songwriter can be classified as an idol is not really my concern. Yeah, but I want to be the singer-songwriter who plays the guitar and wears his like sleeveless stuff
Yeah.
and is good looking on stage.
You've always worn sleeveless stuff since day one, okay? Since
Yeah.
day one.
Yeah, cause like I mean I do gym lah, and I think
Yeah.
it's the best way that people can remember me. You know, back then in Chuang there wasn't much that needs to be thought about. I think every step is planned by the content team. Like how do we what time are we filming today? What is going to be filmed? So I can have kind of a mental preparation on how to prepare myself for that filming. But when I come back here, I think nothing is planned, and I'm sort of going back to being a independent solo artist here. But I think one thing good is that throughout the entire process, I found that I want to be the singer-songwriter self.
Being a part of such a big thing like Chuang Asia, right? Some of the judges were people like Lisa, Bam Bam.
So
you know,
cool.
big names. Did you get to work closely with them, and how was that really like for you?
I think as much as we are allowed to, I think we did work quite closely to them, especially for the stages, the filmings. We had hours of filming with them as well. And they also surprised us with food. With
Oh, wow.
So cute.
Yeah, Lisa brought us sushi,
So
and then
cute.
Bam Bam and Shiming Hao brought us bubble tea and hot pot.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think we were quite close professionally, I feel. And they gave us a lot of very good advice. I think Shiming Hao was the one who gave me very directed comments, and I'm still very grateful for that. Yeah, and I think for second stage, there were the different groups get to work with different mentors. So I get to work with Ouyang Nana. Yeah, and some of the other groups worked with last year's debut members like Ouyang Didi and Qiao Yu. And then some of them work with TRA as well as Yaya, mentor Yaya. So
Avery has no idea who these people are.
I'm just
right?
nodding.
I knew it. I seen his eyes like.
I was just nodding the whole time. I was like, okay.
But were you nervous at all? Because I feel like you're a really chill guy that may not necessarily see idols as idols. In
oh
the
my
past.
god, like you brought like a very good point because
Oh.
I do see idols as idols, but I think like I don't know, something in me is just like when I see a famous person, I think you're someone I respect definitely for your craft, but I've never reached that like fan status.
Yeah, like the
before,
like you know
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So you just see them as a talented person that
Yeah,
you want to
yeah.
learn from.
Okay, but
Yeah.
I will say, right, if I saw Lisa in front of me, as
Yeah.
You have a
well,
meltdown lah.
I would also be like, oh wow, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I'll
it
definitely
wouldn't be
wow
like a,
lah.
but
Oh,
you
yeah.
would be like, oh okay, it's Lisa from Blackpink, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you feel that way?
I
sure lah,
definitely
I'm
feel
sure,
that.
yeah.
Maybe it's because like how society trained us to be like more chill and everything. I don't know. I really
Right.
don't know. But like I think when I saw Lisa, to be fair, low key part of my reaction was for the camera.
Yeah.
I was like
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
To be fair,
Yeah.
and like sometimes the stuff because I wanted to give like good reaction because
Mm.
if they're giving me a mic, because not everybody gets a mic. So if they're giving me a
Right.
mic,
You
I
have to
gotta
give something
Yeah,
back.
to give something, correct,
Yeah.
yeah.
And if you come across as too chill or not excited to
it's
meet,
nothing. Yeah.
then they'll be like, wait,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
is that
Can we-
offensive?
Can we try it? I give you mic now, right? Imagine through the door, John Mayer walks out. What are you gonna do?
You cry. It's a different reaction. It's his life work.
Suddenly that-
I'm so curious to know, and you don't need to answer this
Yeah.
if you don't feel comfortable to. Do you think that a lot of these reality shows or competitions are rigged?
Ooh.
I'm just gonna go there. Because while a lot of reality and competition wise,
Yeah.
talent competitions, I understand that majority of it is really based on talent and but then there's gonna be like a level of they will leave some room for movement, right? Don't you think? Especially voting, decision making and all that.
I'm not sure about whether like program team has anything to do with like any of it. I'm not sure, but I think if you have like your own like manager and company, maybe they can help you say, hey, maybe I saw your episode, maybe you can be a little bit more proactive in this scene or whatever. Yeah, so I think
Like
for-
pushing you in the right direction.
yeah,
in a
maybe
way.
someone will help you, maybe your own friends. Because for me, I think my friend who's helping me manage my PR, she saw like the different comments and everything. Then she said, hey, maybe this time you can be more hardworking in certain episode or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
But isn't that always there's always that conversation where at the end of the day, right, you can do so much in one episode to try and do that, like your friend is saying.
Yeah.
But if they don't decide to air that,
Yeah.
then what happens? Then what do
Exactly.
you do?
You cry. There's not much you can do in that sense because I feel like as much as you can try your best, it's up to the perusal of like the program team and the editing team. Fortunately for me, I feel like the scenes where I portrayed myself best to be were mostly cut in. So I think a lot of times you kind of have to just like give your 100% at every
All
single time.
times.
Yeah, so that even though 10% is cut in, it is still 100%,
But do you feel like then you have to kind of work a little bit harder off camera on your own social media to portray the person that you want to be?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
I think I have to portray myself on camera the same way I want to portray myself on social media. Because if not, there will be a bit of jarring. There's no parallel. And
There's
I
a
think
discrepancy.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you walk downstairs to tapao wanton mee, like how are you gonna be like?
Do you have to dress like this?
I know lah. Like,
Your hair, how's your hair gonna
I
be?
think,
Check.
I think like on the topic actually, like if I'm not going to the gym or I'm not going somewhere where I know there's gonna be hair and makeup, I will actually leave the house with a little bit of makeup and I'll do my hair.
You will.
Yeah, I will.
Even if it's to tapao wanton mee.
Oh no, tapao wanton mee no lah. Like if I'm going like Orchard or something or like to
Yeah,
a mall,
yeah.
I feel like I have to because public's eye,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I still go to town in shorts and slippers.
I know.
Really?
I have seen.
bro.
I know.
I do. Like I really don't care.
You know, he took being yourself to the next level.
Yeah.
He took that advice and was like, I'm gonna 100%.
Exactly. When someone's
wear my
like be yourself, I was
flip-flops.
like, okay, I
But,
still
but you don't have to do anything. You're a handsome guy, man. Like
hey.
Hey, yeah, this one.
Stop,
Avery,
stop.
I think you should pursue idol
should.
career.
No, okay. I love that. But I do gotta ask as well, since we're on the topic of reality shows and being rigged and stuff. Can you, and again you don't have to, but it'll be great if you do, can you share some behind the scenes if there was any drama that happened between you guys?
I think one thing that I think most of you guys already know was that during the second stage there was a bit of conflict in my original song group because part of the team wanted to finish the song a little bit earlier, just churn the thing out because we only have 3-4 days to perform. But they keep and I think that side there was a lot of changes to the parts, and on the other side wanted to protect his own parts because everybody wants
airtime. You want airtime.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I think I see both sides' point of view, and I was low-key stuck in the middle because I have to translate English and Chinese for both sides, and sometimes I had to figure out what not to say and what to say because some things, for example, Avery might be scolding Sonia, but Sonia don't understand, and I don't want to translate that. You know, I might have to translate something that's more constructive for the team. Yeah, and that was my entire time. That's why I think the entire process I was so like exhausted.
You had little sleep also.
Yeah, I was drained entirely, and I think the end product was good because first of all, we wrote a song. I love writing original music.
It's your strength, yeah.
Yeah, and I wrote the top line for the chorus. So
you got it. You got the airtime you needed.
Very good.
Yeah, and I think part of I think for me, if I'm not being a translator, another problem I would say is that because I think everybody wants to. Everybody has an input in the original song. So when I have my top line, I think I had to go through several rounds of changing and convincing. And I think that was one of the more stressful moments for me.
In these moments of stress and pressure, obviously, and you're lacking sleep and you're in a foreign country, even though it's not that far away from Singapore, how many times did you feel like, wow, I'm really very homesick? And what did you do to combat that? Did you video call your family? Or
Yeah, I think... Okay, because we don't have our phones, so we can't.
Oh you don't have your phones.
Yeah.
So we don't give it to you at all.
Sometimes I will request say like,
Like
okay.
I thought at the end of the day, break or what?
No, we don't. Yeah.
So it's not like BMT 6 p.m. you get your phone and you can call your mother. Mommy, I said.
No.
Cannot.
Really cannot. Do they have a common phone that you can just call your family?
Maybe when some of like my other friends they sneak their own phone, then I can use their phones. Yeah. But because I was naive, I thought nobody's gonna bring phones. It was quite sad lah. It was quite sad, and I have to come up with excuses to request to use my phone. I think the one time where I felt really homesick was when I dropped from A class to C class. Because after the team song assessment, to be honest, I didn't fare very well. So I understand why I dropped to C class. And I think not only that, I think some things were happening back in Singapore, so affected me mentally, and yeah, that's why I teared a bit on camera. Yeah.
I don't know whether or not you feel the same way, but for Sons and I, right, because when we're on radio, the biggest thing is that we can't let our emotions get in the way.
Yeah.
Because we always say this, right? You have to put on a smile on radio. If not, the
Even
listeners
if they can't
hear
see
it.
you, even if
They
they
can
can't see
hear
you,
it.
you can hear it.
Yeah, and they pick off your energy. And do you feel the same way? So during that period of time, right, where you knew that there was stuff going on, you just dropped to C class, did you feel like you still had to put on this front as an idol to still feel like, okay, nothing is wrong. I'm going strong.
Definitely. I think especially because our road to the practice area, fans are lined up outside.
Right.
So whether or not they are fans for me or not, there will be cameras. So I had to smile and say thank you and be myself, because be the person that I have been throughout the entire show. And I think sometimes it gets a bit straight, gets a bit tiring. And especially I think not only that, after the walk, right, when we go into the training area, when we were preparing for the first stage, there are cameras as well. So I think after that one sad moment, you have to face another stressful moment. I think that period of time was quite torturing for me. Yeah, because mentally I was like, you know what, I have to be happy and I have to deal with politics and everything.
Not a lot of people can understand that you have to compartmentalize, that you have to... Because initially, when I just started, and like Avery said, even though we're just on a local platform here, you still have to be... You have to be happy, you have to be energetic. Sometimes you have to go on stage and still deliver.
True.
And the whole show is like hanging on a thread, hanging on you, actually. You have to still show up no matter what has happened. And I feel that ate into my personal relationships a little bit initially. Because after I do all that and I'm like, I don't know, fighting with my ex-boyfriend or whatever, I'll just end it and I don't feel like picking up the argument anymore. And I'll just be like, you know what, you just don't understand. You just don't get it because like you don't understand my life and my work and then just end there. And that's why a lot of my relationships didn't work out.
Honestly, it takes time. I'm still like not entirely sure on how to do it, but I think it's better that I'm aware now, that I gotta compartmentalize.
Right.
If not, you can't move on in like such a stressful situation.
Now that you are in the midst of this journey and obviously there's more to the show, what's gonna happen after? I mean, I'm sure your fans want to know both local fans and fans that you've gained around the region. Do you know what else is in store for you? Have you planned anything that we can know about?
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna be releasing an album in July.
Nice.
Around
Hey,
July.
hit us up, please.
I will.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to find my team and the PR and everything to solidify my plans. But ideally, the album's gonna come out in July, and I definitely want to do like a Southeast Asia tour at least.
Oh wow.
Because now that I've gained some eyes regionally, I feel it's a good chance to go abroad and get out of Singapore.
Yeah. You gotta milk it now.
Yeah,
right?
exactly, yeah.
It's
I
all
think-
about the timing.
趁热打铁. It's like
Don't look at us, man. I don't know what that means. Oh, hit the iron while it's hot.
strike the
Strike the iron while it's
iron.
hot.
You're a radio DJ. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now it's going into radio DJ mode, right? Because I gotta ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know the album names, songs? Like, do we know anything about this album itself? Can you share anything?
Okay, I think.
Spill something here. Spill something
Okay,
here.
spill something here.
A
Okay.
small
A
little
small
hint
little, yeah.
Okay.
or
Before coming on an idol program, right? And idol is very strict about relationships and everything, right?
Uh-huh.
So before before coming to an idol program and becoming an idol trainee, I wasn't an idol trainee.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you wrote a song about.
like love songs, is it?
okay.
Okay.
So the album is about somebody.
I think I make a better PR manager. I was like, it's love songs.
No.
He was like, it's about somebody. he
This
cannot
is-
be in PR.
This is my work brain coming in, just like breaking it down and
This
trying
is
to
your
get.
no PR brain coming through. Oh my
Whether
God.
it's like love or like end of love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about
It's
love.
still about somebody.
About love lah. Forget it. Okay, Avery, you're fired.
Yeah, I kind of released like a teaser of the first song that I'm gonna
Okay.
release on it's like it goes like I don't wanna have another person lose. I don't wanna waste another moment with you, but your eyes. Oh, they love to lie. Something like that.
Cute. Hey, you
Yeah.
need to pick some of this up, man.
I can't sing to save my life.
I
lah.
know.
Neither can I dance. I'm just gonna
I-
stick to being a radio DJ.
Thank you.
I see that.
No, you are great, man. You are great. You are funny. You're the funniest guy. You know.
I like him already. There we go. See.
Wait, hold on.
Take notes.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us today, Lucas. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been so much fun learning what it's like behind the scenes of
Yeah.
being a whole idol series. You know?
And having seen you both on stage here in Singapore and also on like a regional platform, you know, we're also proud of you.
Thank you.
And I think at the end of the day, we just want what is best for you, like for you to be happy with what you're achieving and what you're doing. So
Thank you so much.
yeah, don't forget us. Come back, hang out when your album drops.
Hopefully,
okay?
I will write in to you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Write
don't
in.
you? I
Just
message
yeah,
her.
Okay.
Yes. Write in is like
I
a
find it at my
email or
phone
something,
back, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, help me.
Well, we hope that you enjoyed this episode of Men Explain once again. If you are following us on TikTok and Instagram and all our social media, thank you. If not, follow us at itsclarity.co.
And if you're tuning into us not on YouTube right now, please share the episodes all across other platforms too. We got Spotify, we got Apple Podcasts, and Me Listen. So we'll see you again next time.
Bye bye. We go for school invasions. This happens.
Yeah.
So we go to top.
They touch your
school.
muscle?
They do it all the time.
Can I touch your
Okay,
muscle?
you can if you want.
Wow,
So
this
big,
is
bro.
this is a very interesting dynamic here. I'm
touch-
just
you touch
I'm
mine.
just here.
You touch one. You touch one. Very good.
So how was the experience?
Very good. Very
Very
good.
solid.
Firm.
Yeah.
What's
okay.
your routine? You
What's
gotta-
the rating?
It's
out of
another
10?
it's another conversation for another time. Lah.